one day she confronted me. She was like, what's going on? You're not doing anything in that house. And it was not it was not really a respectful exchange of words and stuff like that. So she came in very aggressive, which added to the problem. My initial response was, if we're not gonna have a conversation, a respectful conversation where you address me with respect and I address you with respect, we don't have a conversation. She wanted to fight me, basically. She literally just wanted to fight me. My brother had to come and separate us. She was like, even if you do manage to get rich the way you want to be rich, it's going to be cursed money, you're going to be cursed, blah blah blah, blah. At some point my life was threatened. Like, I don't know, I think something came over her. Like, literally she wanted to, I'm gonna write it down because I don't want to YouTube to strike that video. But yeah, so that basically, that's what happened. And after that whole argument, and after everything quote unquote calmed down, I wasn't necessarily feeling safe in the house. I wasn't feeling safe physically in the house, and but on top of this, I wasn't feeling safe spiritually. I felt like I was under spiritual attack. And since I don't have the proper weapons, which I'm gonna get into later, I felt like I had to protect myself. So I was trying to use meditation. I was trying to use those crystal stuff. I was trying to use this kind of new age stuff to protect my energy with the sage and stuff like that. And the problem with those stuff is that you need more and more and more. Like, nothing will ever be enough. You need more strong stuff. It's never going to be enough. I remember vividly, I used to burn with like regular sage, and I felt like it wasn't powerful enough and I needed something more powerful, so I ended up buying dragon blood sage. So it's not actual, like, it's not dragon blood. This is, I think it's some kind of ink, some red ink, and they dipped the sage in the ink, so they made it red. So it's not actual blood, guys. No. Anyways, so yeah. So basically, I was burning this thing and stuff like that, and at the same time, I was trying to build my music career and stuff like that. And on the relationship aspect, me being exposed to all this kind of stuff, they were explaining that in order to protect your energy, you're not supposed to mix and match with just anybody, if you know what I mean. So I started like slowing down on that aspect as well. So I had less and less relations with people. I selected a few people, so I wasn't really like active on that sense, and I was even trying to step away completely from having any kind of intercourse with anybody in order to keep a clean energy to manifest what I wanted to manifest in life, basically. That's another video as well. In the midst of watching all these readings online and stuff, I come across one of the readings that is to find out who your future spouse is. So remember, I was already looking into the signs and stuff to find the perfect match with astrology and this stuff like that. And now it's a whole other level where I'm watching and looking into who is my future spouse. So I got completely obsessed with this kind of readings to try and look who was going to be my future spouse. And I was in the process of this. I was meeting with guys that kind of was fitting the descriptions and stuff like that. But at the end, they weren't the my future spouse, because he ended up not being what it was supposed to be. Whenever we got involved into intercourse, things went left afterwards anyways. So there is a reason, guys, where God wants us to be married and have relations with our actual spouse. There is a reason, because there is spiritual consequences to this kind of stuff, and I will talk about it in another video. You know the drill now. So now fast forward that I'm into these readings and I'm trying to look my future spouse. So basically my goal from that very moment, which was very late into 2021 going to 2022, was to be a DJ, like establish my DJ career, find my future spouse, build an online crystal shop to like basically be like self-employed and have my own business going on for myself, which was a crystal shop. So that was my goal at that very moment. And for the crystal shop, I was supposed to have a presence on social media to do like crystal reviews, tarot card reading, whatever. So I was getting ready literally to have a witchcraft business, basically. So that was the goal. And at that time, like me being like a DJ and stuff like that, that wasn't bringing income, so I had to take a job. So basically I took a job, barista job, because that's the only thing I knew how to do. I knew how to do coffees, that's the only thing I knew. So took a barista job, but this time around I took it part-time. So I was working part-time as a barista, and the other rest of the time I was trying to work on my shop, on my online shop. I was trying to work as a DJ. I was having gigs here and there, and I was looking for my future spouse in the wrong places, in parties, and in the wrong places, on dating sites and stuff like that. So yeah. So basically, now that I'm quote unquote established and I kind of have a routine, and I'm not really like, I was genuinely trying to live a more healthier life, more clean lifestyle, quote unquote. So I was trying to avoid drinking, I was trying to avoid smoking, I was trying to avoid having relationships with anyone. I managed to take a break from like end of 2021 up until February 2022. I remember I took a break, but then I started that nonsense again. I was really serious about my DJ career, so I started posting more on social media. Started looking for gigs and places and stuff like that. And in my head, my main goal was to live a lifestyle similar to Ibiza, Mykonos, all this kind of stuff. So I started looking into like places where they would look for DJs and stuff like that in the islands, in some kind of islands. I wasn't gonna go too far, so I started looking the Greek islands and stuff like that, Santorini, Mykonos, all this kind of stuff, you know. So I started looking into this stuff, and I started setting my mind to this. I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get there. I don't know how, but I will get there. So basically, I started looking for ways to get close to the country. So in the midst of like working in the cafe, I was looking for job offers not far from Greece. So at least I can get closer to Greece, and by the time I'm in Greece, I can go to the islands easier, and I can like wiggle my way into the music scene in the Greek islands. That was the plan as well. So basically, I found a remote job in Greece, in Athens. So I found a job there, and applied, did the whole process, whatever. Fast forward, I got the job. So now I'm scheduled to travel end of 2022 to another country yet again. So basically, as I mentioned, I wasn't feeling safe physically and spiritually and mentally in that house. So I was preparing literally another escape. And I didn't let anybody know apart from my little sister at the very last minute. I did not let anybody know what my plan was, where I was going, or anything. And I started planning to go. In the midst of doing all of this, there is one thing that actually happened that was like, I need to mention this because literally just thinking about this makes me feel a bit emotional, because that makes me realize how God's hand has been in my life, even though I was not aware of it. So basically, my little sister had a friend. My little sister, she just turned, like, she's turning 15 soon, and they're about the same age. Her mom is a witch. I have to tell it how it is. She is actually a witch. She's from an Arabic country. She's from one of the North Africa country, and she's actually a witch. And the thing is, I told her, she kind of like, because I told you there is knowledge in that world, there is knowledge. So she kind of sensed because I was going and seeing her because she's a bit sick and stuff like that. So I was visiting her from time to time because I wasn't feeling comfortable at home, and she sensed that something was off around me, and I explained what was going on with my mom and stuff like that, and like some kind of situation that I had with one guy that I thought was my future spouse, which he wasn't. So I explained to her all of this. We did tarot card readings together. We did a lot of witchcraft together. Let's go the ways. We did a lot of witchcraft together, and then she basically was telling me that whatever spirit is that is hindering me and that is around me and stuff like that, she can like get rid of it if we do one kind of big ritual where she would have to cut herself and stuff like that. Man, just thinking about this, it reminds me of the Prophet of Bales. If you guys know, you know. Basically, she was to cut herself and do something in order to take those spirits on herself and then get rid of them. So we were supposed to go through a whole ritual. We were supposed to buy stuff, and it was going to be expensive. It was going to be a lot of money, which I didn't have back then. We were trying to make the settlement and stuff to do that actual ritual. And in the midst of trying to call the people that owns the stuff that we need for that ritual, basically any time that we were to go and schedule when we were gonna go and buy that stuff, something came up that would not allow us to go there. And the very last time, and I wanted to do that ritual before leaving actually, which it did not happen. That very last time when we finally had the very last thing that did not allow us to go all the way through, she just told me there is something that is not allowing us to do what we're supposed to do. I think it's spiritual, but it just means that we're not supposed to do it, and we won't do it. And I did not quite understand, to be frank, but we were just not supposed to do it. She just said like this in a very serious tone, and I was like, okay. So basically, mission failed. I finished to schedule my travel, pack everything that I have, and vanished from the house, vanished from France, and landed in Athens. And guys, when I landed in Athens, it was, I don't know, it was really negative. It was really feeling heavy when I arrived in Athens. I knew that things would never be the same. I didn't quite understand back then, but I knew that stuff were never going to be the same. So, landed in Athens, and now I'm trying to go again about the cleansing rituals and stuff like that, burning candles to reverse like whatever witchcraft has been directed towards me, watching readings about my future spouse and stuff like that. And as I told you, I was going through some kind of situation with a guy which I thought was my divine masculine, because that's the thing in that world. You're supposed to be a divine feminine and you're supposed to have a divine masculine, but stuff didn't go well and stuff like that. So I was kind of depressed because of that whole love situation that never happened. So it was quite interesting. It was a quite interesting time when I arrived for the first 2 weeks in Athens. Now that I'm in Athens, I'm trying to establish myself. I'm trying to introduce myself to the music industry and stuff like that, to dancing as well, because I've gave up dancing for quite some years. From 2018, I've stopped dancing up until 2022, end of 2022, when I traveled abroad. So I found a dance teacher and stuff like that. So I started attending dance schools again. I started like asking questions to find where I could be a DJ and stuff like that. And before leaving, I actually landed an opportunity to play for Afrobeat artist. I'm gonna keep it broad. You don't need to know what, how, who. If you had my social media back then, you will know. If you didn't, I've deleted everything, so you will never know. So I got this opportunity to play for a very famous artist. So I was supposed to do the warm up. I ended up just playing for the whole, like, for the artist. as a whole. Ended up being involved with that artist, so that's why I'm trying to keep it broad. Keep in mind that I was watching those nonsense reading back then, and this nonsense reading was like literally telling me that I was going to be involved with someone that was in the public eye, whatever the case may be. So I stuck to it, and it happened, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. We ended up being in touch for quite a while, but then we just drifted away. It's completely normal. And in the meantime, I was supposed to have some kind of relationship with another guy at the same time, so that caused a lot of problems yet again. So basically, we are getting closer to beginning of 2023 when things start shifting. As I said, I was working remotely completely. That was a kind of a tech job. I was working for an online banking company, and I was basically literally sending emails. That's it. I was not making calls or stuff like that. I was just sending emails, like customer support type of stuff. That's what I was doing on a daily basis. So at some point, when you get comfortable in the job, like, it becomes boring. So now I'm starting to watch my tarot videos and all this stuff that has to do with crystal and energies and whatever. I'm watching all these videos while I'm working. This is becoming like a routine where I'm working from 9 to 5, watching the videos, sending my emails. It's quite the same all the time. In the midst of this and watching all these readings, I'm watching random readings. I'm watching readings that has to do with actual intercourses and stuff like that. So it's not quite healthy, you know. I start coming across some readings that are kind of shifting things for me. I'm getting informations that are getting stuck in my head at that point. The first one was, as I'm into music and I was trying to get into the music industry as a singer as well. I was trying to sing. I started going to record music with a female producer as well. I was starting to go to her, and we started recording music together, worldly music. As I'm doing this music stuff, I'm watching reading, and I'm coming across readings that are saying that I was getting ready to sign a very, very big contract. Now I started getting suspicious because I told you when I was growing up, I was watching videos of like conspiracies, devilish type of stuff. I was watching this kind of videos. So whenever I heard like you were about to sign a big contract, I was thinking, oh, am I gonna be offered for a contract from the devil? Like, what's going on here? I don't want to sell my soul to the devil. What's going on? So I started being exposed to one reading that is saying this, then another one, then another one, then another one. And I'm like, okay, this is becoming weird. So now that I know for a fact that I want to be in the music industry, I'm starting to make research on how the music industry works. Should I be under a label? Should I be independent? Like, what am I supposed to do? Which way am I supposed to go? So I'm starting to look into this kind of stuff. But instead of finding stuff that are going to motivate me into doing a business plan for music, I'm coming across very, very dark stuff that are happening in the music industry. I'm coming across people that made some kind of deals, that had to make some kind of sacrifices. I'm coming across like some weird stories about like family members of certain artists that are in the rap industries and whatever the case may be, that died in weird circumstances. And I'm coming across very, very dark stuff about the music industry. And I remember telling to myself, listen, I want to do music, but I don't want to lose my soul doing music. So that music thing, if I have to trade my soul in order to do music, I don't need to do it. I do not need to do it. I was not religious or anything. I was into New Age, but one thing that I've told myself is I do not want to sell my soul for music. So if this is what it's going to be, then I'm not doing music. Basically, that's why I said I remember. So I can feel the shift, like something was changing, something was happening, like God was already working in my heart at that very moment. So basically, I'm doing this. I'm also trying to do weekly readings myself, love of tarot card and stuff, and posting on Instagram and whatever. It didn't work. Thank God it didn't work. So I started doing this kind of stuff at the same time, but I felt different. I felt that I was kind of losing interest slowly but surely. I was not completely aware that I was losing interest, but low key, I was losing interest in this, like the tarot cards. I wasn't watching as much. I wasn't really on time watching it. I was taking like some days before watching readings. I wasn't really caring with the crystal because you're supposed to take care of it. You're supposed to charge them, whatever the case may be. I felt like I was starting to care a bit less, and at that time, I started being to myself a little bit more and not really mingling with people. I stopped going to the dance school. I stopped mingling with the people I was mingling with back then. I started like withdrawing from people at that time. And something was different. Something was changing, low key. So now I'm still watching readings, but not on a timely manner. Now I'm coming across a specific reading. I believe it was a 7 day reading from a lady that I've selected that I was watching quite often. She's mentioning stuff that is supposed to happen throughout the week, like what you're gonna see, what's gonna happen, whatever. And then at some point in time, she mentions some of you guys are gonna start opening a Bible more. You're gonna start praying to God and stuff like that. She's mentioning stuff like that. And I'm like, who is she talking about? That's definitely not me, because it's supposed to be a general reading. Whoever finds the video is for you, or it's not for you. You cherry pick what you want to cherry pick from that very reading. So she's mentioning that somebody's gonna read the Bible, somebody's gonna pray to God, whatever. And I'm like, she's not talking about me. She can be talking about me. I've never opened the Bible in my life, so that could never be me. That was my mindset back then. The prayer stuff, maybe, but opening a Bible, that was clearly not me. I was thinking back then. And next thing you know, I think I don't know if it was couple days afterwards. I actually tried. What I did was I think I downloaded the YouVersion app in my phone a couple days afterwards, but I didn't open it. I just downloaded it in my phone and left it there. And I remember one day I was to myself, like after doing the meditation stuff, whatever. I just did a random prayer. I don't remember exactly what I said, guys. I really don't remember. But I remember like addressing God for the first time in my life, because I've never really prayed before. Like, I come from a Muslim family, as I mentioned, and I was praying, but I was just saying stuff. I was never really praying. My heart was not there. But that's the first time that I said something with my heart. I don't remember what I've said, but I've said something with my heart. A week after this, something happened. I was working. It was the 2nd of February 2023. I was working as per usual with my laptop on the side, watching YouTube videos, funny videos, reading videos, and stuff like that. I think that day I didn't watch any reading actually. I was just watching like random funny videos that I used to watch. And now I'm seeing something in my feed. I'm seeing like a preaching video on my feed. I've never searched such. So that was a bit random that this would appear in my feed. And it was a video from Sarah Jake Roberts, which is TD Jake's daughter. She's a pastor. I come across that video, and that was the video titled A Bold Move, I think. I'm not sure 100%, but I think that was that video that I came across. I was like, okay, that's weird that this is here. I don't quite understand why this would be here, but hey, okay. So I watched it. I watched the video, and she's like reading a Bible passage. I did not, guys, I had no knowledge of how this works. I didn't know like what the sermon was. I had no clue. So I was just there for vibes. She's like saying the Bible passage and then praying and then going into the sermon. She's doing the sermon, and the things she says are making sense. I'm like, I didn't know this was in the Bible. And it's making sense. It's making more and more sense. I can't remember exactly what was the video about because it was more than a year ago, but she's speaking and I can feel it in my soul. Every single stuff that she's saying, I'm like, wow. So this is making sense, you know? And at the very end of her preaching, she's saying like she's encouraging people that did not give their life to Jesus to do it. She's basically like encouraging us to do the sinner's prayer. And I felt something like, and I decided to do the prayer. So I did the prayer, and as I'm doing the prayer, I start to cry and uncontrollably. I'm starting to cry, feeling very very sorry, and I'm starting to stating every bad stuff that I did in my life that I could remember in that moment. And I was just saying, I'm sorry I did this, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I did this, I'm very sorry, I'm very very sorry, I'm very sorry. I was literally like in starting the repentance process without knowing. So I was just saying, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, and I was crying, crying, crying. And after all that crying, guys, I kid you not, I started feeling a presence around me. I started feeling an overwhelming presence. And I started feeling like, I don't even know how to explain. It was an overwhelming sense of peace and love. Literally, I started feeling this over me, and I've never felt such before. And that made me so emotional. So we went from crying because of like the repentance, where I was just crying because that's the very first time I felt so much love coming over me, basically. So basically, yes. So this was my very, very first encounter with Jesus. Now I know that's what it was. So basically, that was my first encounter with Jesus. So now that I did the sinner's prayer and that I've accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, technically speaking, things are supposed to change, right? It didn't. It didn't change right away. I carried on with whatever I was doing. I was trying again to go on gigs and stuff like that. I was still wearing my crystal. I was still drinking. I picked back up smoking substances and stuff like that. So my lifestyle quite didn't really change right away. I felt something different, yes, but the lifestyle didn't follow right away. It took some time for me to actually get there afterwards. So basically, I was still into this, and to cut the story short, I found the DJ job full time in Cyprus, which was an island and Greek, quote unquote. So it was kind of on track with what I wanted to do. So basically, it was in February, so I was to move in March. So in the span of the whole months after this first encounter with Jesus, I was making arrangements to move to Cyprus. So made my arrangements, left Greece, went to Cyprus. So now it's supposed to be a brand new life. It's supposed to be different and stuff like that. So I was working as a full time DJ for an hotel in Cyprus. So it was all inclusive. So they were paying me a salary, they were accommodating me, and food and stuff like that. So I found that DJ job from March. I started up like properly. I started like working in April. It took 1 month and stuff to settle everything, but I was already there. So basically, according to myself, I'm supposed to have landed the job, the thing, the very thing I was desiring to do. But guess what, guys? I was not feeling happy. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was working 6 days a week as a DJ. I wasn't really playing the music I wanted to play anyways because it was an hotel where it was elderly people that like disco music and stuff like that. So the job itself was not even the best anyways. The accommodation was not the best anyways as well. So like on paper, it looked like I was living the dream life I've always dreamt of. but deep down, I wasn't feeling fulfilled, basically. So I had in mind what happened when I was in Greece, the encounter I had with Jesus when I was in Greece. I had that in the back of my mind, but I was still like walking slowly but surely on the process of repentance. So as far as relations is concerned, I've completely stopped. Like the one thing that I've told myself is by the time I reach Cyprus, I do not want to be involved with any guys. This is not happening. I do not want to. So it didn't work long, eh? It didn't work, but I didn't want to. So ended up in Cyprus. I'm working on a daily basis, not really feeling happy. I'm not really that serious about like the crystals and stuff like that. I'm sometimes forgetting to wear some of the crystal that's supposed to protect or whatever. I'm forgetting them. I remember I broke one of them, just left it. In the span of this, I had a photo shoot in Italy, so I traveled in Italy for 3 4 days. Forgot one of the crystals on the set there, so they were supposed to send it over to me in Cyprus. I never received it. I thank God I never did. Um, and I'm saving up some money and stuff like that. And literally on paper, I'm supposed to live the life I wanted to live, but I'm not feeling fulfilled. And basically, as time goes by, I was living with other people and stuff like that. As time goes by, I go back into the habits of going out. We were living literally 2 minutes away from the clubs where I was in Cyprus. So we are literally every night after I have my shift and I'm doing partying every day by the pool and at the nightclub of the hotel, which was closing early because it's a hotel, so it closes maximum at midnight. So after that, I was doing after parties with my roommates and stuff like that every night and stuff. And to be fair, I started to feel bored of like the actual going to the same place. And I'm a DJ, I love music and stuff like that. And I started noticing that the DJ in those places that we're going was literally playing the same songs over and over and over every night. So I started being bored and I said, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna follow you guys. Don't ask me to come out ever again because this is boring. I don't want to come out and stuff like that. So basically, after that, I met a guy in the workplace, like in the restaurant, the hotel restaurant where all of the employees eat and stuff like that. I met a guy there that was overhearing me saying, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ." And I was just saying God's name in vain at that time. And he was overhearing me saying this stuff. So fast forward, one day he decides to approach me and have a conversation with me. It was respectful. I was approached before with many, many guys disrespectfully, but he came to me respectfully, so I gave him some time. Fast forward, we became friends, and in the span of having phone conversation and stuff like that, he's telling me, okay, I'm hearing you say Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus this, Jesus that. Are you a Christian? And I said, I'm transitioning. I don't know. I think I'm transitioning because I had this encounter back in February, but I don't feel like I've surrendered completely, you know? And that was the 16th of June, 2023, that phone conversation. And then he told me, all right, then, if you want to surrender completely, just say that prayer that I did the first time. But this time around, I felt in my spirit that this was gonna change everything. Because, first of all, that conversation that I had with him, we went into deep details about my life when I didn't know him like that. I talked about the problems, the issues that I had with my family and stuff like that when I didn't know him like that in the first place. So I don't know why. But then, at the end of that conversation, he told me if you want to completely surrender, to have that peace in your heart, you need to transition completely. So I did the prayer, cried again, but the moment I did that second prayer on the 16th of June 2023, everything from that moment changed. It was literally overnight. Overnight, I was a completely different person. You could not make me drink any alcohol. You couldn't make me smoke. I wasn't gonna go out anywhere. I told you guys that I was struggling with pornography. I couldn't watch anything that has to do with pornography before. Like, I couldn't. Literally to that day, from that very day up till this day, I've not watched anything like that. It was overnight. Literally overnight, I switched. Literally. Which lead us to the end of the video, where I'm gonna share how I became a new creature in Christ after I decided to give my life fully to Jesus on the 16th of June 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Share part 1 and this part 2. Stay tuned for part 3, where I'm gonna explain everything else that has happened up till this day. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for the support, and I see you in the next video.